Hi there, it's Tammy.
Hey, it's LeAnna.
We're so happy to have you back on our channel. Last week we talked about ways to make extra money to supplement our Social Security earnings through part-time jobs, gig work. And today we're going to talk about ways to save that extra money, and we're going to talk about ways that you can save money on food costs. And I know, LeAnna, that was something that you were really working on.
Yeah, so Tammy and I are vastly different when it comes to money, and she's actually mentoring me in a way so I can spend less every month. And I totaled up my food bill for June, and I'd spent $1,300 on food. Excuse me, that included groceries and DoorDash and when I've eaten out. And my budget for the month is actually $660. So the challenge, the first part of my challenge was to find out where the money was going, how much was I spending, and now this month I'm going to try to stay within a budget. So I'm really excited about it because saving that much money a month is just going to be fantastic. So go ahead, Tammy.
Yeah, the topics that we're going to talk about is food budget tips, ways to reduce food waste, which is a huge issue in a lot of households is food waste, and also that's money wasted. And we'll talk about the five biggest sources of food waste and examples of how you can save money on your food waste. Some smart shopping tips is to make a meal plan. And I know that's really hard sometimes to take that extra time, but if you think about going into the grocery store and you're just buying things and you get home and you don't really know what you're going to do with everything that you purchased. So try to sit down and make your meal plan out for the week, and then off your meal plan, make your shopping list and stick to your shopping list when you go into the grocery store. Buying generic foods is a huge savings as well. Store brands are usually just as good as name brands, and they're often much cheaper, and look for those sales. I know that I even started buying store brand baked beans instead of the more expensive beans because I can doctor them up myself and make them just as good as the more expensive brand. So just looking for those ways to save the money. Using coupons and store apps, that's really a great way to save some money as well. There's a lot of digital online app coupons that you can look for, or just when you walk in the store, they might have a flyer that you can use. Shop sales is a really big one for me as I shop at Publix, and I know when they're going to have each round that they have their sales, and I never buy something that I know will go on sale in another 2 weeks because I know their routine that they have. So look for those items that you can buy on sale. And Publix is really big on BOGOs, but make sure that that BOGO is going to work for you, because if you're going to buy a big old thing of sour cream, are you going to be able to incorporate that into your meal plan over the next month before it expires? Otherwise, that's food waste, and that's waste of money. And then also when you're shopping those sales, look for things that you can stock up on that's non-perishable that you can freeze. Sometimes you'll see that they'll have big things of meat that you can portion out into different meals, chicken breasts, chicken thighs. And then shop senior discount days. Seniors, I think the age now is 55. And so we can go in there and take advantage of those times. If your stores have that 10%, is the savings and adds up over the years. So saving on produce and protein, buying canned vegetables and looking at fruits. So where I live, I shop at Publix a lot, and they are well known for their BOGOs, but just remember that when you are buying those BOGOs that you can incorporate it into your meal plan for that time period if it's going to expire, because then that turns into food waste. LeAnna,
Yeah.
have you shopped the BOGOs?
Yeah, I love Publix. I also use the Publix app, and I find if I can't stick to a list, so I find that I order online and pick it up curbside, so I don't even have to go into the store, and that lets me stick to my list, and I don't buy like 4 different flavors of Haagen-Dazs and whole milk and Oreo cookies. It keeps my diet on track and keeps my money on track too. But also with BOGOs, 2 for 1. But if you just buy one of those items, say it's coffee and a bag, it's going to be $8. If you just buy one, it's going to be $4. So you can split the BOGO. You don't have to get both of them, and you
Yeah.
still see a savings. Let me see what else I wrote down. Yeah, so curbside, that really helps me. The BOGOs are fantastic. And yeah, we'll just have to see how we do next week. My sticking point is making a meal plan, but I'll figure that out. So go ahead.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also, another good way to save the money on food is to buy frozen or canned vegetables. Looking at buying the store brand or generic brands are just as good usually than the name brands. I know that I started buying the store brand or generic baked beans because I can doctor them up the way I like. Sometimes they're a little sweet, sometimes they're a little spicy, just like me. And also look for choosing the low sodium or no sugar added options when you're buying those. And look for the sales because, especially around the holidays, they'll have the BOGO vegetables or they're dramatically decreased in price. And it's okay to stock up on those. And then also using beans and lentils because that's an excellent source to incorporate us into for protein. And we need that protein in the fiber source. Buying meat in bulk and freezing, that's another big one for me and also trying chicken thighs instead of chicken breast. You'll find a big thing of chicken thighs and it's really flavorful meat. I love putting them into the crock pot, making some different recipes with chicken thighs is really good. I know some people only eat the chicken breast, but trying those different cuts of meat but always, if you're going to portion them out, wrap them really good, freeze them, label it. 2 chicken thighs, 2 chicken breasts. And when you're portioning out the meat, think about like for hamburger or turkey, think about what you're going to use it for. So, a pound to make meatloaf, a half a pound to make maybe spaghetti and meat sauce, something like that. So portion it out. Say how much it is so that way when you're going to in your freezer, you know what you have. Yeah. LeAnna, do you have something?
So I'm frugal about some things, but food is a real hard one for me. So I'm exactly what Tammy's saying. I only like chicken breasts. I'll come right out and say the only steak I'm interested in eating is filet mignon. And I buy that at the store and cook it here at home in different ways. And I've really had to adjust. So if I can eat chicken thighs and legs if I cook them really well done. Or if they're in, like, I make a chicken pot pie or something like that.
Yeah.
But in general, I don't like the texture.
Okay.
But once it's into something else, it is more flavorful than chicken breast.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm a walking, talking bad example of exactly what Tammy's talking about. And I do want to say something about store brands or generic brands. So I've done a whole lot of jobs in my life because that was fun. And for a brief moment in time, because I failed at it miserably, I worked at a big place that did mass produced baked goods and sent them out. And so I'm on the conveyor line when the little packages are coming down the way, like brownies or oatmeal pies or whatever. And y'all, I couldn't keep up. That thing went so fast and I had to put them in boxes that sometimes I threw them down on the floor. But anyway, that same little brownie that was packaged up went into 3 different brands boxes.
That's
So
crazy.
I don't know how it works. Sometimes I think a name brand is a better product than a generic brand or store brand, but not always. So you just have to figure it out. And I think what you say about baked beans is spot on because I prefer to buy the generic beans because they're a blander base for all the stuff that I want to put in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there's a certain barbecue restaurant that I really enjoy and I like their sauce, their sweet sauce. So I tend to buy that barbecue sauce and then I want to add it to the beans and I don't want anything in the beans to compete, right?
There you go.
Anyway,
that's
so you just got to shop and see what works best for you.
Another one to save money on your food costs is cooking at home. And that's a huge savings that we can have is to batch cook and freeze. So you can make soups, stews, casseroles, and freeze individual portions. I know that I cook for my parents, and I'll make big portions, and I'll freeze extra dinners for them and label it, and that way I can pull things out if I feel like today I just don't feel like cooking, that I have some meals already frozen. And that's a really good way for also for people that are single or just two people in the household, because like we said, recipes are made for usually 4 people, and might as well just cook it up and make 1 or 2 days and then store the rest. Just make sure you label and date it and freeze it.
And I'm gonna try that this week.
Yeah.
Cook in some bigger batches because I put in 50 plus hours a week at my job and it's fairly physical. So I'm tired. So I get it when people say they're too tired to shop and all that. I'm there with it. But I am trying to cut down on my grocery bill. So I just have to do it, right?
Yeah, I think if once you start incorporating in your routine, that it'll get easier, and that you'll see that time that you invested to do that is going to save you time and money later. So
Yeah.
it's just incorporating it, and maybe just start off slow and then just build up to that. Using ways you're cooking at home is a crock pot is huge savings. Throwing everything in there
Oh, that's a good idea.
and then you can portion out food from that. Also avoiding processed food because that's really expensive and usually it's less nutritious for us. So those are different ways. And then stretching what you have already. Using leftovers. Turn that roasted chicken into soup, or maybe even a chicken salad or chicken casserole, chicken tacos. You just never know. And using every part. So using your scraps and not throwing things away. Try to make homemade broth out of your vegetables, your leftover vegetables you have. Reducing food waste. So that's a huge thing. Check your refrigerator regularly to use things up before they go bad. Lots of times for me, I open the refrigerator and I'm like, oh, what do I have to eat? Nothing. I don't know what to make. I'm tired, you're bored. You can utilize your Google or your Chat GPT and say, oh, just put that in. Say, I have a can of soup, I have some chicken, I have some cheese, onions. Stick it in your Chat GPT or Google and say, what can I make with this? And it'll give you a recipe and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even think about this. I can add some macaroni and some noodles and some this and that. Next thing you know, have a nice little casserole. So utilize that.
I'll speak to Chat GPT. It's fantastic. I pay the $21.95 a month to have the best version of it. And I use it for so many things. Recipes, shopping lists. You can tell it specifically you want to make a certain thing, but you want to spend the least amount of money. It'll do all that for you.
Yeah.
I could go down a whole rabbit hole. Probably should do a video about Chat GPT.
Yeah. And I'm really trying to incorporate it. You've taught me a lot about that. So I'm trying to incorporate that more because it is saving time.
Yeah, everything, time, money. I'm going to get off the food budget just for a quick second. I live full time in my RV. I needed to replace the air conditioner, but the guy told me I needed to replace it. So we scheduled a time for him to do that. I put in all the things the AC was doing to Chat GPT and said, how do you fix this? What is it fixable? Yada. Chat GPT went through the whole thing and verified that everything the repair guy told me was accurate and that I did need a new AC. So you can use it for topics you don't know anything about to save money. You want to trust people, but it's good to trust, but then verify.
That's
so
good.
Anyway,
That's
sorry, didn't mean to get off.
No, I love that because we need that.
Can I ask you a question about
sure.
roasted chicken? So is that a good buy, buying the roasted chicken, like for chicken salad and stuff? Is that economical to do that? Because I love chicken salad on sandwiches. I never really thought about just getting a roasted chicken because then I didn't have to cook it and everything.
Yeah, I don't buy it just to make the chicken salad, because usually at Publix I buy the BOGO canned chicken to do the chicken to make chicken salad.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
But I was just thinking of ways to stretch that chicken, because you'll eat the chicken breasts. I know you'll eat the chicken breasts off that. And then you're looking at this and you're like, what am I going to do with it now? So I've picked it, and I've also added barbecue sauce, and I make the chicken barbecue is so good.
Okay.
And yeah, even to make a chicken salad. It's really good.
Yeah, so there's a lot to say about grocery shopping. Maybe I'm a weird eater because I eat a lot. Like I'll eat a roasted chicken, both breasts for dinner.
Yes.
So but I don't utilize a lot of canned vegetables, which I should do. I eat mostly fresh stuff, but I rarely have leftovers because I have a huge appetite. So my concern for me, if I'm going to do what you say and meal prep and try to get it frozen, I could probably eat a casserole for 4 people in 2 days. I don't know how you save money when you eat so much, but we'll figure it out. Anyway, go ahead.
If you're making it, then you know what's in the ingredients too. And
Yeah.
versus fast food might have a lot of different additives and things like that.
Yeah.
Because it might make you feel better.
Yeah, I don't do
Um,
too much fast food.
okay.
That's a lie. I like my McDonald's in the morning. Go ahead.
Okay. The 5 biggest sources of food waste. Oh my gosh.
All
And
right.
I know I've been guilty of that. And I just was thinking yesterday, I threw away like a quarter of an onion. And I'm like, I don't know why I was thinking that because I could have cut it up and I could have frozen it. And now I'm beating myself up on that stupid little piece of onion. Okay, so make sure you avoid buying just what you need for the week. Store properly, freeze leftovers, bread and baked goods. Make sure that you freeze that as extra slices so you don't want them to get moldy. Cooking your leftovers, label and date. Your dairy products, make sure that you buy smaller containers if you're not going through them. So BOGO yogurt is not worth it if you're having to throw it away at the end of the month. That's where you can incorporate it into your smoothies with your banana that you froze. And then impulse or bulk buys, make a list, stick to it, only buy the bulk buy non-perishables that you're going to use often. And make your use my first section in your fridge. Maybe make a shelf that says that you need to use those things first. In the United States, here's the interesting information is that the average person wastes 250 to 300 pounds of food per year, costing hundreds of dollars. If you're wasting $27.40 a day of food, that's $192.80 a week. That's $10,000 a year. We're just having to really try to save on our food waste and try to get that money in your bank account. Ways that you can save is just thinking about fast food or takeout, your coffees each day, using unused groceries, buying too many snacks, those impulse purchases, those all add up. And
Yeah.
maybe even just look at those purchases that you're doing, those impulse buys, and how much you can save. And then ways to avoid wasting $27 a day is stick to your meal plan and your shopping list. Freeze your extra foods before they go bad and skip a daily takeouts and maybe cook 6 times or 5 times a week. That could be your challenge, LeAnna. Instead of doing takeouts, say, okay, I'm going to only do two takeouts and 5 meal plans.
Another big thing I'm going to do is buy a water bottle. I have one, but I'm going to buy a bigger water bottle. Probably I'll get a decent one. I think they're like $35. And take water with me every day because I'm finding, I don't want to say where I work, but I do spend a lot of money on drinks during the day, like bottled water, bottled tea, lemonade. And I'm just going to pack, I think I'll save $35 on the cup in a week.
That's huge. That is
Yeah.
such a good deal. I have my own water. I have a water container and I have a hot container. And so because I make all my hot drinks, I very rarely will I splurge on a hot drink. So that was some tips for you.
All right, so join us next week. We're going to talk about how to budget and find ways to have entertainment cheaply and how to keep from spending too much money on entertainment on your subscriptions on your television or your computer. Anything you want to add to
Right.
that, Tam?
Yeah, we all deserve to have some fun time and we're saving money and we need to reward ourselves for some things, but we can also look for ways that we can cut some costs too.
All right, bye. See you later.
See
Oh, don't
you.
forget to subscribe and ring that
Yes.
bell and put comments and questions down below. Thank you.
Thank you.